This is new construction. I've seen, they did part of this in effect. They spray it and then they just take a regular old handsaw and cut down on the 2x4s and slap up the drywall and keep on going. The other cool thing about this, not only does it keep you warmer in the winter and cooler in the summer, you can't believe how quiet it is. It's really good if you have a noise problem. We can weather strip our windows. You don't need special tools or anything. We can wrap our hot water pipes. You don't need any tools. They're pre-scored. You can just use your fingers to open them up and snap them on. We can recycle. I probably don't need to say that it takes a whole lot less energy to take aluminum can or paper and turn it into another thing of aluminum or paper rather than starting with raw bauxite or wood pulp. Planting trees is a really good thing, not only because it improves the microclimate, it shelters the car or the house and makes it cooler, it pulls some of the carbon dioxide out of the air, but in my experience, when kids plant trees, they take ownership of the tree, they take a little bit of ownership of their neighborhood, they take pride in it, and some people, myself included, are flaky enough to believe in horticultural therapy, we call it, that if a kid nurtures something that's little and needs care to become something big and strong, they get the idea that they can become big and strong even if they're just little kids now. So I think there's all kinds of cool benefits to that, and it just makes the street look nicer. Composting is a really good thing. Then you don't have to send your stuff to the landfill. You may not even have, do you have curbside collection for yard waste? Okay, good for you. But if you just keep it at home, you get this stuff we call black gold that really makes your garden nicer, and then you don't have to use as many pesticides, and you get better drainage. This is my front yard a couple of years ago. The flowers are still there. You'll see how it looks differently in a bit. But the nice thing about this is I don't have any lawn front or back. I don't have a stinky old lawnmower. I'm not polluting the air with the lawnmower. And the other cool thing is my street has a lot of little kids. The engineering term for what my yard is traffic calming. People will drive down my street and they'll come almost to a stop to look at my flowers, and then the kids are safer. A kid was hit and killed in front of my house 30 years ago, so it's because it's where the street starts to drop, and at least this way I'm slowing people down three quarters of the year. You have farmers markets here, I bet you do? Yeah. So that's certainly a good way to stabilize the local economy, keep people on the land. It reduces the carbon footprint of your meals, and I don't know how to articulate it, but it means a lot to me that I know the people who grew the food I'm eating. You know, that's cool. Okay, passenger vehicle efficiency. That's what I drive. It's out front. That's not me. It's my dude magnet. I've been driving it for almost 12 years. I still have men beeline across the parking lot, particularly on a nice Saturday, to ask me about my car. It took me 6 months to realize they weren't all looking at me. But I'm happy to do the educational thing. I get, my record is 76 miles to the gallon. I got 55 miles to the gallon coming here because I was hustling on a 70-mile-an-hour road and using air conditioning. There's no excuse for us not to use this technology better than we are. You know the Prius. I've seen at least one of them here already. And then this is just another example, but this is Thomas Friedman's idea that green is the new red, white, and blue, that it's patriotic to use energy more efficiently. There's plenty of things we can do if we drive. Minding the speed limit is a really big deal for lowering your fuel consumption and reducing your emissions. Avoiding jump starts. Unless you're a cop, when the light turns green, you don't have to floor it, but it doesn't appear to me that you have that kind of a signal here. It looks like you've got one flashing red, but yeah, which is cool. Keep your tires properly inflated. That can make a difference on your fuel efficiency. Regular tune-ups, minimize your AC. If you put a couple of bags of sand in the trunk for the winter to get extra traction, take them out in the spring. Avoid idling motors. That's one of my pet peeves. People, I'll see them, you know, like in the drive-through of Walgreens, or not in the drive-through, they're just in the parking lot while somebody went in to get something and they said they're keeping the engine running because they're staying cool, and I'm like, then why are the windows down? You know, come on, turn off the engine. Trip cycling means to line up your errands and do them efficiently. I bet y'all do that. Carpooling and telecommuting. Some of you may have that chance. This is just to illustrate carpooling because I think it's cute. All right, other transport efficiency. I know it's not cool, but we need to make our kids ride the school bus and our grandchildren ride the school bus. We need to convince them it's good for the environment, because it is. This is a cool thing that you all might be. Do you have schools here, or do you have a consolidated system?
Just consolidated.
That's a sore point, I take it. Okay. Well, just to illustrate the point, this is called the walking school bus, where instead of the parents picking up the neighbor's kids and taking turns taking the kids carpooling to school, the parents take turns walking the kids to school. I keep seeing these studies that say that ADD kids would do better in school if they walked to school and they had recess. I'm sorry. I think all kids would do better if they walked to school and if they had recess. And frankly, I think grown-ups would do better if we walked to work and we had recess, you know? I think that's cruel to make kids sit in the desk all the time. So this is a really cool alternative. And by the way, we do have this obesity epidemic, and this is the CDC has said we've got to build exercise into our day-to-day lives, because telling people to go to the gym isn't working. Riding the dog, I like doing that, because then I can do something more constructive than sitting behind the wheel or take a nap and let somebody else deal with the bad drivers. I really think we need to reinvest into the train system. I'm assuming the train came through here at some point?
Yes.
Cool. You know, there's just so many logical reasons why this would be a good idea. And then riding our bikes is a good thing. I've already seen a couple people doing that here. Yeah, good. Please don't do it on the sidewalk, because we are all pedestrians at some point. In Louisville, I know you don't have this problem here, but just to give you some perspective, we're averaging 370 pedestrians hit by a car per year in Jefferson County alone. That's crazy. And I know it's going to come as a complete surprise, but the drivers are overwhelmingly teenage boys and young men who are going too fast and not watching what they're doing. And a quarter of those collisions are in parking lots, people jockeying for spaces or just impatient to get in and out. So always we should be careful when we're driving those automobiles. All right, renewable energy. This is a light tube. I have one of these in my office. This is a school library. That is nothing but a highly polished tube that goes from the ceiling up through the roof, and it has a clear dome with a reflectorized perimeter, and it throws the light down the shiny light tube into the living space or the working space. It's a nice color of light. It's passive. It's just there. It does its job for you. This is an example of passive solar. You know that the sun in the summertime is up high. It hits that eave and bounces off and doesn't overheat the space. But in the winter, the sun is low and it comes through the glass and warms up that space. This is the visitor center at Bernheim Forest, just south of Louisville, if you've ever been there. It was designed by William McDonough, which he's hip at the hip for green design. But I don't need to tell you, that's a nice color of light, a nice quality of light. The concrete floor is there to absorb some of that heat in the winter and let it radiate out and keep the place a little warmer. This is an example of solar hot water. If you have money to do renewables, solar hot water in this part of the country will have your best payback compared to any other option, but always do energy efficiency first. The Germans are the world's leader on solar. It's because they subsidize it more than we do, but they don't have nearly the sun we do. So I'm sure we can do it. In fact, I did it at my own house in 1986. And I moved to another house, but I had solar hot water all while I was living there. This is photovoltaics like you see on calculators. This is Scientific American. These are not tree huggers, you know, they're geeky guys in white lab coats. But they're saying we could get 69% of our electricity, or a third and change of what we use in the way of energy by 2050 from solar. This is the front of my house now. I have up on the roof 13 solar or photovoltaic panels. I put 3 on the front porch because I wanted people to be able to see them. The house is up so high, you could easily drive by and never notice the 13 panels, but you will notice those. And I want people to think it's normal to see it. Wind power, you all have in Indiana much more potential than do we in Kentucky, and you only need to go up I-65 to start to see some windmill farms. And it's considered to be the fastest growing sector of the electric generating arena in our country. This is just to show you the scale. A lot of people are worried that birds are going to be killed by windmills. With these new turbines, it's only the ADD birds that might get hit. I mean, you don't have to pay attention because they move so slowly. You ought to be able to fly around them, unless you're just totally off task. All right, this is enhanced geothermal, which is a system by which we take advantage of the temperature differential down underneath, way far, not that far, it's 55 degrees in general. We can use that temperature differential to turn turbines to make electricity very cleanly. We do it on the home level or the business level, but this is a larger scale. And then this is just to show that where we live, we only need to drill down 10 kilometers, which isn't that far. It's about 10.5 miles in order to get to the where we could do that technology.
Very much.
Oh, well, thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate your time.
Sure.
Appreciate that you're here.
So I'm having fun.
Okay, well, and it's evident.
Yeah.
It's evident in your passion for the
Thank
project.
you. Thank you.